What is going on, everybody? We're here. We're live for Geeks and Gamers Daily, the 11th of December. We're, 14 days away from Christmas? How is that possible?
It's ridiculous.
I feel like this year has flown by. Maybe fortunately, this year's kind of been shit. So maybe it's a good thing that it's flown by. Maybe that's a positive thing. But we are almost to Christmas. Almost to Christmas. All right. What's your favorite holiday, Beardo?
Ooh, favorite. I really like Halloween. I like scary movies. I like the spooky stuff. I like doing the haunted houses and like Universal Horror Nights and stuff. Christmas is cool, but for some reason, like around Christmas time, like kind of just get sad. You know that feeling like you just get sad, like you're not with family or certain family members aren't there anymore. They're not as close. So it's like Christmas just isn't the same. It doesn't hit the same as you were when you were a kid. So it's like you get sad about it.
It's true. If your life is good, Christmas is great. If your life sucks, Christmas is fucking miserable. So yes, I agree in principle.
Sure.
That is true. Christmas like accelerates your emotions. If you're feeling good with family, everyone's together, it's awesome. And if your life is fucking miserable, you hate it just that much more around the holidays. So probably. Jeremy's not here today. I heard that Jeremy really wanted to catch up. I think he was watching Skeleton Crew. He wanted to catch up on Skeleton Crew because he's very invested in Disney Star Wars. So maybe that's where he's at. Maybe he'll be back tomorrow. I don't really know, actually. I don't know when Jeremy is supposed to be doing it this week, but it's me and Beardo today. That's what I actually know.
Usually we're on Sports Wars together. I don't think we've done a daily together ever.
I don't think so. Usually it's just over on Sports Wars.
Yeah.
But yes, we do have some super chats already came in before the stream. Nikos has a 3-part super chat. Doug Walker recently made a Disney-Sember review of The Acolyte. I knew he was going to be a piece of shit by using the Boy Who Cried woke line in 2024. Second part. However, he took it one step further by accusing all those who complain about wokeness as the ones who are paid by Disney to hate watch it for them. Third part. The guy who has his own studio tells us we're being paid. The guy who kisses Disney's ass calls us all liars. Jeremy, please react to that review. Well, Jeremy's not here, but I'll try to remember. What was the name of this guy? Fucking Doug Walker. Disney-Sember review. Yeah, I mean, that guy was a massive pile of shit. And this is something that whenever any of these huge pieces of shit come out, you often have people that are like, you're just helping it by talking about it. No. The two biggest failures we've had potentially in the last couple of years have been The Marvels and The Acolyte. Those were also the two things that were talked about more than any other piece of content like that came out around that time. Yet they were the ones that had the lowest ratings and were the biggest failures. So actually, it turns out that when, all these people out there are shitting on something, it doesn't encourage people to go and watch it. It doesn't actually help Disney. That's why they don't want us to say these things. That's why they want us to not talk about them. That's why they despise us talking about those shows in a negative manner. But it is what it is. But shout out to Doug Walker, I guess, who's very upset that The Acolyte sucks. Mpo for 5.99 euros says hail 199. Thank you, Mpo. Shadow saying Jeremy's new favorite Hallmark movie is Hot Frosty, according to Gary. Not big into the Hallmark movies, but I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know where that's coming from.
I buy it though. Like, I probably believe it. Like, Jeremy's kind of the guy. I think he'd like secretly be the guy who enjoys Hallmark movies. It just doesn't tell anybody.
Yeah, while publicly, making his argument about Die Hard, but he's actually watching Lifetime Hallmark Christmas movies. Maybe 100%. They put out a lot of them. I know you tried to get drawn into that on Monday evening when we were doing Sports Wars, because that was after this big argument that Jeremy and I had about Die Hard, Christmas movie, all that shit.
Yep. And I got drawn back right into it yesterday on Daily and then last night for Tuesday night's main event. And guess what? We'll all say our statements. We'll all say how we feel about it. And then next December,
we'll have the same argument.
We're going to have the same fucking argument again.
Yep. So I'm very glad Danky cut that out and posted on the Clips channel, though. The comments are The comments are pretty glorious. I think it's like okay to have different I don't know, like different levels of how Christmassy is this movie, right? Where
Mhm.
the Santa Claus, where it's literally about a dude who is, separated from his family, trying to reconnect to his child, who actually becomes fucking Santa Claus. Like that's as close to like the spirit of Christmas type of thing as you can get.
Mhm.
Other things, maybe not so much, and you can throw your diehards in there. You can even throw your Home Alones in there and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But doesn't mean they're not Christmas movies.
I know you're a big Harry Potter fan. Do you consider Harry Potter Christmas movie?
Not particularly, no. I also think it's something that I think there's a difference between a Christmas movie and something you watch around Christmas.
Right.
I do tend to watch I tend to watch a lot more things around the holidays in general, or
Mhm.
at least most people do, because a lot of time they have more free time. So it's one of the reasons people probably watch more movies. But is Christmas a part of a lot of those movies? Yeah, but it's like a 2.5 or 3 minute part in a
Mhm.
fucking 2.5 hour movie.
Mhm.
I get why some people consider them that way. But it's similar to me. And I don't know if you remember this. You might not be old enough, but I think on TNT they used to do the 007 Days of Christmas, and all through like leading up to Christmas, they would play all the 007 movies, all the James Bond
Mhm.
movies, just over and over and over again. And I used to
Mhm.
watch the shit out of those during Christmas.
Mhm.
But you know
I
that's
think
kind of the way I feel about those.
I think the Harry Potter thing is because ABC did the 25 Days of Christmas and they always did the Harry Potter marathon. So now I
Yeah.
think it's like stuck in our brain that, oh, it's Christmas time. Harry Potter. Harry Potter's a Christmas movie. But it's just because fucking ABC ran the Harry Potter marathon. So now it's like we're conditioned.
Yeah, and a lot of them did come out around the holidays, were released around Thanksgiving time and then ran into December.
Hmm.
So I can understand why people feel that way about them.
Hmm.
I can
So does that
understand.
mean Kraven the Hunter is a Christmas movie?
Yet clearly, right? We'll see. We'll see if Kraven the Hunter is a Christmas movie. Kraven the Hunter sounds like it's going to be a nightmarish debut.
It's
Um,
I've seen some tweets that it's projecting to make less than Madam Web in the box office.
yeah. And I mean, this universe is dead, right?
Well, it
Like,
was dead on arrival, man. Like a universe based on Spider-Man villains without introducing a Spider-Man. Spider-Man's not even in there. Not even as the perspective of maybe like trying to make him the villain, like a perspective from the actual villain about him fighting Spider-Man. That would be a unique idea, but they didn't fucking do it because they lent Spider-Man to Disney. And they're just trying to make Venom an anti-hero. Okay, we're gonna make Kraven an anti-hero, and it's like, oh, okay, well, Venom's villain is gonna be Carnage. It's just such a stupid fucking idea to try to have Venom be Venom without Spider-Man, and then Kraven without Spider-Man in these movies. It just doesn't work. Oh yeah, and Morbius too.
Morbius.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then Madam Web, where you introduce a bunch of spider heroes, but you still don't have Spider-Man.
yeah,
But yeah, box office, Kraven the Hunter aims for week 15 million in opening weekend. And
that's
there were
wild.
reports that Sony may have even pulled it from some theaters, possibly. I don't know. But Kraven the Hunter could get declawed in its big screen debut. The comic book spinoff set in Sony's universe of Marvel characters is targeting a paltry 13 to 15 million from 3,200 theaters. That would even contend with February's misfire of Madam Web with a $15 million debut for ignominious distinction for the lowest start among Sony produced Marvel adventures. And the one thing you can look at with these movies is they're not 250 million dollars. They're a little bit more controlled, but like Madam Web, I think it was like 80, 90 million, somewhere around there. This one, Kraven, apparently 110 million dollars. But holy shit, it's not going to bode well for you. Like, you're talking about less than $100 million worldwide by the end of its run, probably. If these things hold steady. But I don't know. Maybe they thought they'd get the fucking female audience in there with shirtless Kraven, but nobody has any appetite for these things if it's not connected to anything else.
Mm-hmm. Dude did get fucking jacked for this movie.
Yeah, I mean, he's in great shape, obviously. So I respect for getting into great shape for the role and respecting the role, but that's going to be a nightmare if this holds true. 12, $13 million opening weekend. There's a lot of other things out there for people to watch, obviously. You know, Gladiator is out there, Wicked is out there, Moana is out there. Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim is also coming out. That's not going to do very well at the box office either, but of course, it's that's an animated Lord of the Rings movie. I don't know what appetite there was for that to begin with, but Kraven the Hunter does sound like it's going to be a poor end to this Sony Spider-Verse that is now officially dead after this movie.
Yep.
Spider-Verse with no fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so then, like, what's next? Because I seen, like, on Sony's slate, like, now they're specifically only focusing on Nick Cage's Spider-Man Noir, the third installment of the Miles Morales Spider-Verse movies, and now Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland, and potentially, you know, could be bringing back Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire for Spider-Man 4 as well. But, like, that's all Sony's working on right now for the future, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Now, I think that for Spider-Man 4... I think I think they're going to hold off on bringing back Andrew and Toby in Spider-Man 4. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they show up in the big Avengers Secret Wars. They're probably going to be everybody there at some point.
Yeah.
But I do think they're going to try at least to stick to what they set up at the end of No Way Home, which was kind of friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Grounded.
A little more street level. Type of story. I hope they do that at least. But who knows? Maybe they will be tempted to just fucking pull that cord again and bring back those two other Spider-Men. But I think it's gonna be a little longer before we see them rather than just in Spider-Man 4.
Okay.
We'll see. Never know. I mean, to be honest, I would be down for Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4. I would be down for Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man 3. Maybe more so than Tom Holland Spider-Man 4. But with all that being said, at the end of No Way Home, with the fact that they actually removed all of his, you know, parachutes from him and really separated from everything and put him in the little apartment. That's the type of story I wish we would have seen from Tom Holland Spider-Man from the beginning.
Yes, 100%.
And at the end of that movie, I was more interested in a future Tom Holland Spider-Man story than I ever had at any point in the MCU.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's where they should have started him off. What was like that exactly. And I think that's why they did it, because they heard the gripes of, oh, Iron Man Jr., look at all this tech. He didn't actually make his own gadgets. You know, Peter Parker is this... He's kind of a genius in making these web shooters and all this tech and the gadgets for himself, and he was just kind of given it to him by Tony Stark. And he always had this Tony Stark monkey on his back. And they really did it in Far From Home when they were in Europe in the second movie. The whole like Tony Stark father figure thing, it didn't stick well with a lot of people. So, but what I don't understand with the whole Sony cinematic universe, what they were doing with these spinoffs. Why didn't they just make that in the Andrew Garfield universe and just do two Spider-Mans at once? Okay, the Andrew Garfield, he has his Spider-Man universe over here with Venom and Morbius and Kraven, and you can actually have Spider-Man involved in those movies. And then just have Tom Holland Spider-Man be over in the MCU. And everybody wins. And Sony's actually making money because people do like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans, I think. Because his fan reaction, at least in my theaters, and I saw it twice, his fan reaction was louder than Tobey Maguire's was.
It was like they were both awesome, right? I think that time maybe has helped with the Andrew Garfield thing. Amazing Spider-Man 2 was not great.
Neither of them were good.
I didn't mind the first one, actually, to be honest.
The first one was better than the second one.
I think that Andrew Garfield plays a fantastic Spider-Man. I didn't like what they did with his Peter Parker.
The punk skateboarder.
Yeah, I didn't love the Peter Parker, but I really liked his Spider-Man.
Right.
And then I think that Jamie Foxx was not great as the villain in Amazing Spider-Man 2. But with all that being said, based on the level of comic book movies people have had coming out. They're like, God, I kind of would want to see that, especially after his very, his small role, but important role in Spider-Man No Way Home had so many people talking about him.
And the redemption of saving Mary Jane, how he couldn't save Gwen Stacy. A lot of people, like, he redeemed himself in that movie.
Yeah, it was like, to me, he stole the show of that movie. I thought he was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So, but yes, Kraven the Hunter doesn't look like it's going to be saving anything.
Nope.
I like milk, says I like milk.
You're damn right.
Thank you. Thundarius, Jeremy is gay. Ryan is based. Beardo is that dude.
Thank you, Thundarius.
Max Falconridge, pro tip, if you smell poop at FurCon, it's 1, unwiped ass, 2, infected bottom surgery, or 3, a full adult diaper. Keep that in mind before you go, Ryan. I'm not going. You guys have to get us to 2,500 local subscribers, and I don't believe in you.
Chat, is it true that, like, at FurryCon there's just like stations where you can get free penicillin shots because of all the STDs going around at FurryCon?
I don't know.
Just a rumor, I guess.
I hope I never have to find out. Jens Anderson, I'm looking forward to this Christmas. Nice. Rudy for 2. Ryan, why are you so jolly right now? Do I come off as jolly? Thank you. Space Digger for 2. Jeremy has publicly said he loves Hallmark movies. There you go. Probably why he can't take any nudity in his Christmas movies. Lord Botha for 5. Played Fortnite 5v5 FPS today. Let's just say COD shouldn't be worried. If I had one word to describe it, slow. Yeah, I think they debuted their first person stuff this year.
Speaking of that, do you want me to pull it up?
Yeah, we can see it.
I have it right here. So this is like a creative map that's kind of supposed to resemble Call of Duty's Nuketown. This is first person Fortnite. Fuck, I'll mute the music.
Oh, it's definitely Nuketown. Okay.
Yeah, they tried their best to do a Nuketown clone. I mean, it looks good.
It is going to feel slow.
Right.
I do think that's the case. It'll probably feel very slow. Especially like
he's not fighting anybody.
Especially like when you jump and stuff.
Yeah.
Because the gravity is a little different in you kind of hover for a little bit when you jump. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right.
The physics of the world. But we'll see. Yeah, that did come out today, right?
I've seen some posts the past few days, but maybe today was the official launch of it. I'm not sure.
Spider Claw. I'm still watching TNME, but I have to say Beardo's dumb. The only mayo is best foods. Everything else are cheap imitations, period.
Duke's mayo's the best.
Mayo is best food. I don't really have too many I'm not very picky when it comes to that. Hellman's, like, what I don't fucking care. I like Miracle Whip too, to be honest. I do like the tangy zip of Miracle Whip. At least when it comes to sandwiches. I don't know about, like, would I put Miracle Whip on a burger? I don't know. Tobias, Doug Walker does Nostalgic Critic. Probably the better known name. Meanwhile, I'll be here enjoying Once Human, Forever Winter, Hunt, and trying Atlas out while waiting for Killing Floor 3. Yeah, it's Doug Walker, Nostalgia Critic. Used to be huge. Not so much anymore. Weird Robot for 5. I bet Beardo's actually really cool to hang with. You just need to walk slowly so you can keep up with the chicken legs.
Word.
Thanks, Weird Robot. Ben's sister. I couldn't make it to TNME. I was busy washing my headlamps.
It's okay.
Massive tits.
We understand.
Darth Gavel for 2. Warhammer 40K TV series confirmed with Henry Cavill.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw a lot. Like, to me, I actually thought a lot of there was reports that were going out about it were kind of bullshit. I didn't trust the places where those reports were coming from about it being, it's in trouble and stuff. But yeah, Henry Cavill reaffirmed that everything's good to go and, all that stuff, which is good. I'm not a big Warhammer 40K guy. I don't know much about the lore or anything like that. It looks awesome. It's got a very passionate and very serious fan base, and Henry Cavill loves it, and he's the right guy to be involved with the project. There's no doubt. So hopefully they do it really well.
Yeah. Yeah. I did play Space Marine 2, got a little bit into it. I don't know much of the lore, but the game is awesome. The combat's great. And then that new Amazon show, Secret Level, where they do the anthologies of video games. They have Warhammer 40K Space Marines episode. I watched last night. It's pretty good. So I'm excited, man. For as passionate as Henry Cavill is about certain genres and certain, stories and everything, like, he was also the perfect guy to be involved with The Witcher. And look what Netflix did to that. They cut his fucking balls off. They said he was difficult to work with because of how passionate he was about The Witcher. And they're like, all right, well, see you later. We'll just replace you as Geralt. So he is the right guy to help run and produce and write certain fiction as far as like the live action adaptations. So I am excited for the Warhammer series that he's running.
Yes, we shall see what happens with that. Certainly going to be a lot of hype surrounding it. Gaming Baker, remember for 8 months. Hey, Ryan, can you make a new show about Jay walking dogs and talking to male celebrities in toilets? It could be called Dogging with Jay. We could release an uncensored version called Raw Dogging with Jay. That'd be great. Relentless. Thank you, gift givers. 199. Yes, if anybody gifted subs, then Relentless thanks them. Tobias next for 2. Remember, the first Lord of the Rings movies were all animated. Yeah, I know. What I mean is I don't think that there's a big clamoring desire for some animated show about Lord of the Rings, right? I think if War of the Rohirrim, even if everything was exactly the same as it is now, I think if it was simply live action and not that animated style, obviously it would cost a lot more to make potentially, but I also think there'd be a lot more interest in seeing it at the theater this weekend. It's not to say, look, animated movies are some of the most successful ones, specifically the ones that are these family-oriented, family-geared animated movies. You see Moana 2 right now, likely to hit $1 billion at some point in the next several weeks or months at the box office, Inside Out 2, stuff like that. But for what feels like a little bit more like adult-oriented audiences, unless you have something that's like a popular anime or something, it's tough to get people to theaters to watch it. It just kind of is. Not to say I hate animation or I won't watch any animated movies. I'm just saying the way a lot of people in the general viewing audience are going to look at it, for right or wrong. But when it comes to the original Lord of the Rings movies, yeah, they were great, and I loved watching it as a kid. The Hobbit movie, I very specifically remember the Hobbit movie, watching that over and over and over again when I was younger.
I like the Hobbit trilogy. I know it gets a lot of hate because of certain CGI and lack of practical effects, but I enjoy the Hobbit movies not as much as the Lord of the Ring trilogy, but I still think that they're good.
So the thing is, with the Hobbit, they take that book and they just expand it way too much. It should have been 2 movies. I think you could have told it right and still got the bounce at the box office with releasing 2 movies instead of just 1 for the adaptation of 1 book. But 3 movies just stretched it out too much. It left them filling in a bunch of different things, and it was too long. I think that if they would have done just 2, then it would have been perfect. But I like the Hobbit movies. I think they're fun. Old Rooster Tales for 5. My channel hit its first monetization milestone.
Let's go.
Not bad for a dipshit making MAGA-inspired AI songs. Hail to 199. Jeremy's gay. Beardo, you rock.
Thank you, Old Rooster Tales. Congratulations, man.
Eric K. Seeger Racism for 2. Fuck you, gayin. Let Beardo read.
Nah, Ryan's just fine reading the super chats.
Yeah, I'm good. Godzilla's Greaser. Happy 25th anniversary of Godzilla 2000. The comeback after that mistake in 1998 and the creation of one of my favorite designs of the Big G. Was 1998 the one with
Broderick?
Yeah. Was that the Matthew Broderick one?
Where he was more like a T-Rex?
Bro, that was the one that took place in like New York City and
right.
Yes. Madison Square Garden or whatever.
Yes.
They got fighter jets flying through and launching missiles at Godzilla in the middle of the city. I actually have kind of fond memories of that because I vividly remember being at the drive-in movie theater watching that movie on the massive screen when that came out. I think that the 98 one probably was the Matthew Broderick one, now that I'm thinking about it. But whatever. I'm not some big Godzilla fan, so I like whatever. I don't really
I
care.
like the new Monsterverse movies.
The Godzilla vs Kong and shit like that.
Godzilla versus Kong, and then the New Empire, and then even the second one, Godzilla King of the Monsters, with all of Godzilla's monsters in there. You got Mothra, and then I like those ones. I don't know. It's like a guilty pleasure. Like, you know, they're not good, but you're watching it and you're like, you can have some dumb fun watching it. Turn off your brain and just watch it.
To me, that's exactly how I feel about them. I will like sit there and watch it and I'll feel nothing. I'll think nothing. I'll eat popcorn and I'll walk out and like my life hasn't changed at all. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Deep about it. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah. It's not a movie you need to
popcorn movie.
You don't need to make like a YouTube review like video for these movies. You just watch it. You're like, oh, cool. I just watched King Kong and Godzilla kick each other's ass. All right. You know,
you just watch a big monkey punch a big lizard in the middle of Japan, and then somehow decides to fashion an axe out of one of his fucking horn things that came out and smash this other mecha Godzilla. It's just, holy shit. The thing I don't like about those movies are the people. I got really sick and tired of the people, especially when I think it was Godzilla versus Kong, whichever one ended up with them fighting mecha Godzilla in Japan.
That was the first versus King Kong movie. Yeah.
Dude, I got so fucking sick of the people storyline, like Millie Bobby Brown's storyline.
Millie Bobby Brown and
that movie.
And the
I just want to watch the monsters fight.
Yeah. Kyle Chandler's good though. Kyle Chandler was good. He's the only one that I could tolerate. But the bitch mom from the Conjuring movies, she's the mom of Millie Bobby Brown and the ex-wife of Kyle Chandler. She's a fucking cunt in those movies, and so is Millie Bobby Brown is fucking annoying. But I don't know. Those movies are. But Ryan, what is the best kaiju movie?
I don't fucking know. I'm not a big fan of fucking like Godzilla movies and shit like that. So
you didn't like Pacific Rim?
Pacific Rim is fine. I like when I watched that movie, I was expecting to like it more, but to me I felt the same way about watching Pacific Rim as I do about watching the Monsterverse movies.
Okay.
Just like, okay.
I really like Pacific Rim. Really fucking good movie.
John Boyega.
That was the second one. I'm talking about the first one with Charlie Hunnam.
Oh yeah.
And Idris Elba. That one was good. The second one I didn't even bother watching.
Why? If you liked the first one, you didn't watch the second.
I saw the writing on the wall.
No.
I waited for the reviews to come out, and then I see it, and I'm like, all right, maybe I'll miss this one.
Over on the Rumble side, B. Barrett for 2. Jordan Neely may have been a Michael Jackson impersonator, but Jeremy is an Elton John impersonator, but not because of music. Because of the anal sex with men. I see, B. Barrett. B. Barrett for 2. The main star in Home Alone 2 has an iconic red hat. Therefore, it's a Christmas movie. Yes. Vault 95 Survivor, TNME is a Christmas movie. I didn't watch this, so I can't confirm. Bethany for Canadian 10. Hi, Ryan. Beardo, where's your calendar?
Oh, main event last night. Who was her name? Ashley St. Clair. Jeremy was like, oh, because Ashley St. Clair was December.
Oh, you have your ultra right beer.
All right beer, hot conservative woman calendar. And Ashley St. Clair was the December one. And then Jeremy was like, oh, yeah, Ashley St. Clair, you know that she's a fake right winger and she blocked me on Twitter. And I was just like, fucking threw it off the wall. So I need to get a new calendar.
Just G for a buck. Y'all think they're going to renege on the spell at some point? Holland has like 2 or 3 movies left before Miles' bitch ass takes the mantle. I don't know. I'm not sure, just G. Do I think they're going to renege on Tom Holland? At some point in time, people are going to like realize who he is again. I'm sure. Right.
Well,
but you got a little while before that.
So in Spider-Man 3, Doctor Strange erased everybody's memory on Earth to forget who Spider-Man is. So that means Thor still knows that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. What's his name? Peter Quill. Why am I forgetting what his superhero name is?
Yeah, Star-Lord. So you're saying that
Star-Lord.
basically everybody who wasn't on Earth at that time. I didn't even think about that, honestly. I figured the spell just worked throughout the universe.
I'm pretty sure it's only on Earth. So that means Star-Lord would still know Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Thor would still know, and other characters like the
maybe they could get out of it that way.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, that's how they're going to get out of it. Is that they know that Peter Parker is still Spider-Man.
I mean, he can always just reveal it at some point in time too.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? It's like people have just forgotten what happened. He could still be like, "Hey guys, I'm Peter Parker," and start a new relationship with them. I suppose. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you guys seen Transformers 1 yet? Flop, a great movie. Nah, I haven't.
I have not seen it.
Marty McFly's Life Preserver for 199. Godzilla -1 did humans right. That was the thing that surprised me because I'm not a Godzilla fan. I don't really care. And I actually cared about the humans in that movie, which was shocking to me.
Yeah.
I thought Godzilla -1 was really good.
Well, it's because they didn't try to make Godzilla like this anti-hero, almost good guy. Like Godzilla was the fucking villain monster in that movie. So you actually cared a little bit more about the humans.
That's true. And when it comes to a new adaptation we're about to see for Chronicles of Narnia, the villains may be the people that are making this movie. It was several years ago when we heard the report that Netflix had acquired the rights to the Chronicles of Narnia.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, of course, you've heard the jokes about, hey, they're going to give it the Netflix treatment, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Well, it's been a while since that first got announced. And we did know some things about the movie, including who is going to direct it, at least for the first handful of movies. And that, of course, had people a little bit concerned. Greta Gerwig attached to direct Narnia movie. Netflix acquired the film and TV rights to the C.S. Lewis book series in 2018. Now, Greta Gerwig, obviously coming off the massive success of the Barbie movie. And when you look at her, she's an accomplished filmmaker who's done well at the box office also. So, but when you look at what she's made, from Lady Bird to Little Women to Barbie, all of them have very specific messaging, and all of them are geared primarily towards a female audience. And certainly she's been very successful doing that. But the idea that that might be the road that they take with something like Chronicles of Narnia has people very fucking worried. This is one of the most beloved works of fiction from the 20th century, C.S. Lewis's books. And this quote here has people even more worried. Greta Gerwig's Narnia film begins filming in July of 2025. It's a very new take. It's all about rock and roll, says Amy Pascal. They only said two things about it, and both those things are fucking concerning. One, the fact that it's a very new take, and two, that it's all about rock and roll. The first movie that they're going to make supposedly is Magician's Nephew, which is the sixth book to come out, but the first chronologically. That book takes place in 1900. Yet it's
rock and roll.
All about rock and roll. What the fuck are we doing? Everybody that's a fan is already fucking worried about this shit. It's a story that's full of, Christian allegories and themes and things like this. Mm-hmm. And the idea of turning into a piece of modern day bullshit has a lot of people rightly worried.
Yeah, justifiably so. I mean, when you take, like you said, when you take such a beloved franchise like the Chronicles of Narnia and all these books and with all the Christian theming and stuff, and then you're going to get some of these feminist woke people in the industry, and you're going to give them the helm, and they're in charge of producing and writing this thing, you have absolutely every reason to be concerned and worried, especially when you have these comments. It's going to be a brand new take, and it's going to be rock and roll. What is it, like a musical rock and roll? Like what are you saying, that there's going to be a lot of action? Like, it's very vague of what they mean by rock and roll.
And I think, like, Magician's Nephew, I think, is going to be tough to adapt as the first thing they're doing out there anyway. But that's a story that takes place before everything else, set in 1900. And then everything else basically takes place kind of in the 1940s. But I feel like the setting is very important to the story and where it's at. The idea that they might do an actual, like, 2020s version of this fucking thing is the most horrifying thing I could imagine, to be honest with you. Now, it's just one quote. Before Greta Gerwig, when she was asked about this, she said, listen, I feel like there's a lot of pressure doing this, and I feel like I need to be very respectful. It's kind of like when Americans do Shakespeare. You feel like there's extra pressure to make sure you're doing it right because it's not your playground. And then the first thing to come out is this, that it's going to be all about rock and roll. And it's a very new take on
very new take
works. Just give people exactly what they want. Just give people an adaptation of these books, not a bastardization of these books. And those are two very, very different things. But yeah, a lot of people love Chronicles of Narnia. And I'm not shitting on Greta Gerwig as a director. Obviously, she's written and directed 3 movies, say, in the past 10 years that have both been critically acclaimed and financially successful. Barbie obviously being the latest one. But all 3 of those have themes that appeal more directly to women than men. All of those are for female audiences in general. And Chronicles of Narnia is something that it is meant to and does appeal to everyone. And I feel like if you go that route with it, it's going to be a very big mistake. It's going to be a very big mistake.
How many gender swaps and race swaps do you anticipate?
I don't know about race swaps, or sorry, I don't know about gender swaps, because I think there's plenty of female characters in the story. And in almost all of these, whoever kind of gets pulled to Narnia for whatever, it usually do have a male and a female companion. Now, there have been allegations of sexism. C.S. Lewis is sexist for having Aslan say something about how all the girls want to do is play with their hair, some bullshit, right? Fuck that. But you talk about race swaps. Come on, 100% there will be.
Do you think they make Aslan a female lion?
They'll make Aslan trans, I think. Aslan's going to be trans. The White Witch is going to have a very sympathetic, backstory, and she's not really bad or evil. Right. It's just because of this. Like, that's the type of shit.
And it'll be because of Aslan. Aslan was the one that oppressed her.
Yeah, that Aslan, in fact, is the reason that the White Witch became evil, and she's just misunderstood. That's the type of shit that I could legitimately imagine happening in this series. A lot working against it.
Oh, boy. Well, we'll see.
Working against it. The White Witch will be black, someone says. Maybe. That'd be a little on the nose, but you never know.
No, they'll be Israeli.
Jesus. Stepsis, looking good today, Ryan. Thanks. Rolled out of bed and put a shirt on. Shadow saying Chronicles of Narnia always reminds me of my favorite parody movie, Epic Movie. That is pretty funny, actually. And I enjoyed the 3 movies that they did. Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, and Dawn Treader, or Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I enjoyed them. I thought they were okay adaptations. They certainly weren't perfect, but I enjoyed them well enough. I think people are going to be begging for those movies after we see Netflix's adaptations. That's my guess. Severian. Look into the Susan controversy pushed by Margaret Atwood and Neil Gaiman at the end of the Narnia series. In my opinion, this will be the crux of the series. I'll have to look into that.
Interesting.
I don't know if it's the same thing I was talking about earlier, but who knows? Tobias Nexus for 10. Godzilla isn't a hero or villain. He's a force of nature. In the best movies, like the original, 85 and -1's blast wave scene is horrifying in destruction and silly with the ragdoll effect. I would love to watch another. I'd like to watch Godzilla -2. That'd be great.
Well, it's getting a sequel, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll just be Godzilla -0.5. Godzilla 0. I don't know what they'll call it.
Yeah, Godzilla 0. That's what I was thinking.
Godzilla 0. Godzilla -0. How about that?
Ooh, that's cool. Yeah.
Godzilla -0. We could work something out like that. The White Witch will be a lesbian Palestinian, maybe. Someone says Dawn Treader kind of sucked. Like, to me, they went down as they went on.
Yeah, the only one I've seen of the old series was the first one, The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Now, I did like those animated ones, too. I remember watching those as a kid. I really like the really old cartoons of those animated ones when I was little, but I don't know. Godzilla 00 negative, Godzilla 00 negative, Godzilla 007, just a parody movie of Godzilla as James Bond. That could work. Rich the plug for $5 over on Locals. Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man movies were more comically accurate than any other movies, down to the outfit Gwen was wearing when she had her great fall. Ryan, your nukeness can't accept the Amazing Spider-Man. I just told you, I like Amazing Spider-Man. I like those movies more than most people like those movies, probably. And I love him as Spider-Man. It's just, I didn't love the Peter Parker vibe all the time. But I like the movies in general.
Peter Parker was a lot better in the second one. The first one, him being like the punk skater while also being like super fucking smart. While still trying to be the photographer. But I'm going to skateboard, take photography, and I'm a fucking genius.
It was like the way people were looking at him even before he becomes Spider-Man. It's like, oh, he's kind of a loner, but he's kind of a hot kid. He's kind of a hot dude, and all the girls were looking at him. And do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that was like the strange vibe for me for it.
Yeah. Peter Parker's supposed to be this fucking loser who somehow miraculously pulls the supermodel Mary Jane. Like, the hot chick gives the fucking dorky kid a chance.
Well, another important thing to remember is that in the comic books, of all the Spider-Man comic books we have, maybe less than 5% of that time, Spider-Man's in high school.
Right.
Right. So that's what we always think about when we think about Spider-Man, is him in school and him young and the origin and everything like that. But the vast majority of Spider-Man stories out there, that's not necessarily the case. You know, he's not just some dorky high school kid. But it was kind of the introduction that I didn't get like the vibe for that from.
And we've seen it before. We've seen the intro before, like the origin story with Toby. We didn't need to see it with Andrew Garfield again. And that's why they didn't do it with Tom Holland. They just started him off, yeah, he's already got spider powers. He's already got his powers. He's already got his suit. He's still in high school, but we're not going to run through Uncle Ben's death or anything like that. You've seen that story before. But
that's kind of the problem that's one of the problems with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, is that you never got that. Right. And obviously it's Aunt May.
So they had to give it to you with Aunt May.
Like, he had never lost something in that way to really feel like the pressure of what he's doing and of like the great power, great responsibility bullshit. Like not bullshit, but the shit that we see in everything.
Well, so did they not kind of tease something with Aunt May in Homecoming? When Tom Holland is talking to his boy Ned, and he says, you know, I can't, after everything that May's been through and everything that's happened to her, like, you know, I can't tell her that I'm Spider-Man after everything that's happened to her. They kind of do hint that there might have been an Uncle Ben death, but they don't just say it out loud.
Right. Well, I think that Aunt May probably was like a Black Widow and like killed her husband so she could go play the market. That's what I think from this version of Aunt May.
Okay.
Like that's what I feel like, but who knows? Is Chris Gore calling me out in the chat? Hold on.
Frank?
That's what I heard. Someone said Chris is calling me out to watch Wicked. Chris Gore wants me to watch Wicked. I got too many fucking movies to watch this week. But Chris Gore summoned you. Where I don't even see him.
Yeah, I don't see him in here. It says that we did get a Nerdrotic Nooner raid. At least that's what people are saying in the chat.
Oh, really? Well, thanks. Why would Gary be live now? That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, I don't really. Oh, in his stream with Gary, that's what happened.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
In the stream with Gary. Why is he calling me out to watch it? I'm not fucking sitting there shitting on it. But take Vera to see it, Ryan. If she wants to come down here to see it, that's fine. I'm not fucking going all the way up to the Northeast in winter in December. Come on.
Yeah, it sounds miserable.
She can go on a Florida vacation and come down here and watch it with me if she wants. But I don't really feel like going all the way up there. Where was I? Just G, Beardo. It's a spades term. Renege. Hashtag Navy days. The look on your face when you heard the word.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to renege on something means to go back on it, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. For anybody that was wondering about what that word was, like Beardo's reaction. Just G, Godzilla -1 was called that because after the war, Japan was set back to 0. When Zilla shows, it sets them to -1.
Okay.
Funny math. Vault 95 are for $1. Beardo, in case you don't stream Bro Science on Rumble, do you have any suggestion for boosting T without using TRT? You can answer later on Bro Science. Ryan Straight.
All right, I'll think about it. Who was that?
Vault 95 Survivor.
Vault 95 Survivor. Let me write that down.
I feel like the common theme of dudes in their 30s starting to use TRT, not because they have any problems, just because they want to boost their testosterone, is going to become a problem. And I think it's going to fuck up people's hormones later in life. That's what I think.
Yeah, definitely if you abuse it. Like, you got these guys, you got these kids on Instagram who are in their 20s who are running TRT.
Late 20s, early 30s that are doing TRT, which kind of was intended for people once they start to get in their late 40s and early 50s, when really testosterone generation, it like really starts to take a dive.
And they're abusing is what they do. They say that they're on TRT, like on Instagram. They're like, oh yeah, I'm on TRT, but really they're blasting it. And they're probably mixing in some other compounds too. But they're just telling to their fans, oh yeah, I'm on TRT. But they're blasting 500 milligrams of Tren a week, or testosterone a week. They're also throwing Tren in there, maybe some oral steroids. They're just getting fucking massive, and they're lying to their fans. And then these kids who are watching these videos are like, oh shit, well, I'm going to take testosterone. They're like fucking 21 years old. Like, that's where it's fucking bad.
And I think it's gonna fuck it up, because I think for some people, once you do that, it's gonna be very difficult to go back, and not use that anymore.
You got to know what you're doing, man. You absolutely have to know what you're fucking doing. If you're gonna make that leap, you got to do your research and know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, I don't care enough to ever fucking feel the need to do something like that, to be honest. Cardinal for 20. Is it just me, or is Aaron Taylor Johnson criminally overlooked for his roles, except in Kick-Ass? Godzilla 2014, Nocturnal Animals, Bullet Train, and The Fall Guy. Dude's working his ass off, but just not hitting with audiences. I like the Aaron Taylor Johnson for Bond. I am kind of an okay with that if he was to be the next Bond. His name's been someone that's thrown out there several times, but yeah, I feel like he's a guy that people like, but is not in anything that ends up being like, I don't know. I guess Bullet Train was fairly successful, but
yeah, but he wasn't even a main character in Bullet Train. But
yeah.
I love Bullet Train, great movie. But yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson, I guess he's an A-list actor, but to me, he'd be more like a B-list actor.
I don't think he's an A-list actor. No.
Yeah,
he's not. But I think he's got the potential. I like Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, he's a good actor. There's rumors that he was going to be
that 28 Years Later trailer was fire, dude.
Yeah. And there's rumors that he's going to be James Bond.
That's what I was saying. Like those rumors have been out there for a while. I would like that. I'm okay with that casting. But I'd definitely be more okay with that than a black person, randomly change James Bond black or change James Bond into a fucking woman.
Idris Elba as James Bond.
He's too old at this point anyway.
Yeah.
But no, James Bond is white. Everybody knows this. James Bond's not just like a character that was created for a movie. His characters are taken from Ian Fleming's novels, where his entire his makeup is very much listed out. His mother's side, his father's side, all of this shit. So he's not anything other than white. And the idea that people think it would be okay to do that in a movie, go fuck yourselves. Go make your own. If you want to have a black secret agent movie, go for it. And it could probably be awesome if you write it the right way. But James Bond's not black.
Who's your top pick for James Bond?
In an ideal world, I would have loved to see Henry Cavill as Bond.
Bingo. Me too.
I would have loved to see Henry Cavill as Bond. what's he, 40 now? So I think the ship has probably sailed for what they want. But to me, if they had just fucking got off their asses and done it, I think he would have been perfect.
Mm-hmm. Also, and Michael Fassbender's probably too old now at this point, but I think he would have been a good James Bond too.
Yeah. Yep. But Cavill could still do it, whether he wants to or not.
He could.
I don't
know.
Absolutely. I don't think they want him. I think like they very specifically said they want someone in their mid-30s, right?
They want a guy younger so that they can do like fucking 7 movies with him.
They don't need to do 7. Daniel Craig did 5, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like Timothy Dalton's Bond was in the wrong era. I feel like it was a little too dark for what people were ready for or expecting from Bond. But I actually really enjoy the Timothy Dalton movies, the 2 that he's in. But Pierce Brosnan, I love Pierce Brosnan movies.
Yeah, he was good.
But the best James Bond is, of course, the real James Bond, and that is Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
That's right. Sean Connery will backhand a bitch if he talks back to him. Right? That's James Bond right there.
That's true.
Right? That's James fucking Bond.
That interview with Barbara Walters, man, is fucking crazy. Like, well, what if a woman just decides to slap you back? Well, that would be very concerning, and I would begin to think that maybe she likes being slapped around. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. Tobias, Netflix had the original animated Red Wall series, but now it's gone. I want to see that again, but can't find it. Any suggestions? Don't know, man. I'm sorry. I am Warwolf. Probably a hot take, but I love the first Narnia movie. Liam Neeson as Aslan is perfect.
Yeah,
I agree. Liam Neeson as the voice of Aslan is perfect. I really like the first movie.
That's good.
I enjoy Prince Caspian, and I'm okay with Voyage of the Dawn Treader, but that's when it was pretty clear that it's like, I think they're done with these. I think they're done with these movies. But we got to talk about something that everyone is also done with as soon as I can find it. And that would be, in a year of video game failures, massive AAA, big budget games that have so much anticipation building up to them that just completely and totally flop upon release. The first one of the year, if you look all the way back, might have been Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It's also the game that kicked off all of the Sweet Baby Inc. controversy that had people in the mainstream media just desperately trying to run cover and say, oh, they don't really do anything like this, when in fact, companies like Sweet Baby Inc., their entire purpose is to force diversity into anything and everything that they work on. But Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was a massive financial failure for Warner Brothers. They lost over $200 million on this game. Something that was in development for years and years, something they invested a ton of money into, and they expected this live service game to bring them in money for years and years and years. Well, unfortunately for them, after less than a year, they're announcing they're already done with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Warner Brothers finally kills off Suicide Squad after taking out over $200+ million in impairment charges. And yeah, the recent season they just launched with Deathstroke, this is going to be the last one. They're done. No more content, no more support for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. For the thousands of people that stuck around, this game's not going anywhere. It's fucking dead.
Yeah, and let it fucking die. They have crucified the entire Arkham series. Now, you can have selective memory and choose to only recognize the 4 true Arkham games. And then at the end of Arkham Knight, that's it. That's the end. And choose not to recognize Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League in the same universe, although unfortunately by canon, by Rocksteady, it is. But there's been several disgraces, just to name off a few. Kevin Conroy, the late Kevin Conroy's Arkham Batman, a lot of people who consider the definitive comic book version of Batman brought into a video game. Kevin Conroy, who's no longer with us, fucking Harley Quinn shoots Batman in the face point blank and kills him. You got baby Poison Ivy, that Harley Quinn is like super creepy pedophile towards Poison Ivy. And then you also have Harley Quinn like grabbing up on on Deadshot's ass and like making a joke about it. You got
I don't mind that part, yeah.
Captain Boomerang whipping out his dick to take a piss, and then King Shark or Deadshot's like, "Oh man, look at that massive cock! I didn't know you were built like that, Captain Boomerang." It's like, how fucking gay can you fucking be, dude? Like, to comment on a man's fucking dick and be like, "Oh man, that's impressive, dude. Good job." Like, there's so many things went wrong with this fucking game. And then you have not so gay Joker, where it is heavily implied that the Joker in this game, coming from another multiverse, is gay as fuck. Like, it's super fucking frustrating because I'm a huge fan of the Arkham series, and what they fucking did to the universe is unacceptable.
Yeah, and now we are dealing with the Suicide Squad. Do I expect the Suicide Squad to be shitty people that do shitty thing and disrespectful towards heroes? I do. The problem is how that impacts the universe that we're talking about. And remember, what a lot of people said is, "Oh, I'm sure at some point they're going to bring these heroes back and blah, blah, blah." Well, if it doesn't happen by the end of this season, it's never fucking happening, right? And that's just the end state for these heroes. That will be the end state for these heroes, including Kevin Conroy's Arkham Batman, like you pointed out. That's the way that he goes out, which is just completely and totally fucked up. But I guess you still got time to hop on board. Deathstroke, the season 4 began yesterday, and Deathstroke had his little introduction, but this game is officially dead. I can't believe that lesbian gender swapped Mr. Freeze didn't bring people back to this game. Very strange. Very strange.
Strange indeed. So I do have the opening clip from the new Deathstroke DLC, his introduction to this game. Is my volume on? Yeah, let's go. Just like that, huh?
What? You listen to his speeches?
I do love Deathstroke, and God, they should have done this before season 4. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it looks like he kills the main Brainiac. And Brainiac's like, at the end of the game, I never played it, this is just from what I've absorbed. The end of the game, Brainiac makes like a whole bunch of multiverse versions of himself, and that's what's keeping the live service alive, is that the Suicide Squad has to take on several different Brainiacs from different multiverses. And then what? In the last DLC, Deathstroke just shows up, and in a cutscene, Deathstroke just kills Brainiac. You don't even get to do it yourself as the player.
That like, can't be the end of... That can't be the end of Brainiac, though. Like,
maybe there's another one out there. Another one out there, I guess. But Deathstroke pops in, shows up, and this Deathstroke has faced Batman in the Arkham series several times. No comment on Batman, no word. He didn't hear about the Justice League dying. He's just going to say, "Oh, what, Suicide Squad? Like, you listen to his speeches?" No comment on, like, what the fuck happened to Batman? How'd you guys kill Batman? Where's Superman? How the fuck did you guys do this? I've been fighting Batman for the past 20 fucking years, and all you had to do was just shoot him in the face.
Is it that Arkham Origins where you have that huge fight with Deathstroke?
Right, yeah. In Arkham Origins, yeah. And then again in Arkham Knight, you face him again, but it's a tank fight or a Batmobile fight, so you don't like hand-to-hand combat Deathstroke.
The Origins fight, I very specifically remember.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty intense.
Yeah. But early on, very early on, and then after you do that intense hand-to-hand combat with Deathstroke and Origins, then he's just gone.
Yeah.
He's just gone. And it's like, man, you could have waited, or you could have at least had 2 fights with Deathstroke in that, because the whole trailer, that cinematic trailer for Arkham Origins, was heavily implied Deathstroke is going to be like the guy. He's going to be the guy, like super big, intense fights. And you get one of them, and then he's just done. So it's kind of like a dry hump to me a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. dead, bros. It's
Let it die.
It's done. Let it die and piss on its grave, just like they pissed on the Flash.
That's when they did it. They pissed on the fucking Flash. I forgot that. Fuck.
Space Digger. I would like to see Idris Elba as a mentor to 007. Why?
James Bond doesn't need a mentor.
Yeah, James Bond don't need a mentor. I would have no problems if they wanted to do some fucking MI6 spinoff, 006, and it happens to be a black dude or whoever you want for the role. I don't care. That's fine. It's not James Bond. They're not 007. They're not James Bond.
Mhm.
But it's not that difficult. It's not that tough. Vault 95 survivor for $1. Roger Moore started a TV show called The Saint as a kind of James Bond character before taking over from Sean Connery. He had successfully proven himself to take over that role. To me, Henry Cavill in Man from U.N.C.L.E. Henry Cavill in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Go watch that and tell me this guy couldn't fucking play Bond.
Mm-hmm.
He 100% could. He 100% could be Bond. And I think we're all caught up. Oh, hold on. Logan Johnson for $10. Say what you know about Arkham Origins. That game was pretty dope. And that Deathstroke fight was the best fight in the game.
100%. Arkham Origins is severely underrated. Great game. And a Christmas video game.
Does take place around that time, doesn't it?
It takes place on Christmas Eve.
But yes, I think that is it, guys. We've been going for an hour. Tomorrow, I don't know who it'll be. I think I'll be here. I don't know who else. I don't know if Beardo will be here. I don't know if Jeremy will be here. I don't know if Jay will be here. Nobody fucking knows anything going around this place. That's just how it rolls, I suppose. But what do you got going on, Beardo?
Bro Science, Dan Vask, X-Wing, Adam Krigler, gonna be on Bro Science today, 4 p.m. Eastern on my channel, and then I'll probably be doing a gaming stream later tonight.
There you go. I'll be live on my channel at 7 o'clock Eastern, so you guys come check me out at 7 on RK Outpost. I'll be streaming for an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. Couple more here. Space Digger for 2, not necessarily a mentor, but an earlier agent. Maybe. I wouldn't mind him being involved in some way, but Johnny's for 5. I hate the current trend of using all these garish colors in games, especially bright purple. Suicide Squad and Veilguard are examples. Yeah, I saw some post was like, why are all games colored this way? And including like the GTA one. The GTA one's clearly because of Vice City and it's set in Miami and stuff like that. I don't have any issues with that, but they have some common themes in some of these games that have come out recently for sure. But that is it. That is it for us. We will talk to you guys maybe tomorrow, maybe on our streams later. Who knows when we'll see you. Thanks for being here, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.